John is surrounded by many people. They are all asking him to throw them a ball. The girl looks at the main character and thinks that again this sick man has stood among people. She needs to throw the ball anywhere but in his direction. She is terribly afraid. The main character notices this and thinks that he won't be able to go on stage. The ball is caught by another young man, smiling and laughing with happiness. The guy doesn't understand what to do. He can't just stand and watch. John raises his finger and shows like to all the people, shouting that he is handsome. The landowner and his daughter say goodbye to people, waving their hands and smiling. It looks like the actors are leaving for lunch. People are also starting to leave. The landowner's daughter remembers John well and will never throw the ball in his direction. There is no point in waiting for their next appearance. Looking at his phone, the guy realizes that it's time for him to have lunch. He has exceeded all his expectations, collecting a huge number of likes in half a day. After lunch, I still need to go see Julia for a couple, and broadcast in the evening. While it doesn't do anything, you can continue to rate it manually. Sitting on a bus, the main character tries to complete his mission using hand speed. Two girls next to him are watching a funny video. John is dancing on it. They decide to approach the main character to ask if he is the one filmed in this video. Apparently someone posted this on TikTok. The video has already received about 100,000 likes. Unfortunately, these are just his likes. It's a pity that they are not taken into account by the system. The girls say that the guy is quite funny. They are delighted with this dance. Ladies, I suggest you perform it again to see the dance in reality. There are many fewer people on the bus than in the square in front of the estate, but this is better than manually poking at the screen. Without hesitation, John stands up and starts giving everyone the thumbs up, moving and dancing funny. After some time, it's time for the guy to get out. He is glad that this is his stop. Well, despite all the embarrassment, 5,000 likes is a good result for such a short trip. But still, he won't be able to get the 100,000 likes on his TikTok video out of his head. He can't shake the feeling that he's been robbed. Suddenly, the phone vibrates in his pocket. It's Noodles calling and shouting into the phone. Today, at a class, the old man was taking roll call and was very dissatisfied with his absence. He had never noted those absent before. Apart from him, about 5 other people did not come to the couple. But he only scolded John, saying that he would not allow him to take the exam. A friend invites him to write an explanatory note and go to him to apologize. Perhaps this way the teacher will become more loyal. The hero doesn't understand why. Out of the 6 people who didn't come, he only noticed him. Apparently, it's all because the guy is quite tall and fat. People are immediately struck by his absence or presence, but it hasn't come to this before. Suddenly it dawns on John that this was all due to his newly acquired visibility. He is very indignant, because this is another setup from the system. It should help its bearer and not complicate his life. The system notifies that at the current level of visibility, the absence of the carrier in class will be noticed in 100% of cases. That same evening, the main character decides to come to his academy. He approaches the department office, holding a piece of paper in his hand and looking at it sadly. The explanatory note should reassure the old man. At least the guy really hopes so. Gathering his strength, John exhales noisily and knocks on the door. A voice is heard from it. Someone reports that he can come in. The main character embarrassedly opens the door and walks into the room. The professor inhales noisily, looking aggressively at the student who has just arrived. He starts shouting at him, not understanding how he has so much audacity to show up in his office. The man asks what these pranks are. Apparently, John is doing this instead of attending his classes, showing videos on his phone. The main character is surprised. Apparently, the old man is also on TikTok. The guy apologizes profusely, saying that he made a big mistake, and gives him an explanation. The man says that he will not let such behavior get away with this. John understands that the man is not in the mood today. He urgently needs to come up with something. Suddenly, some idea comes to the main character's head that can certainly help save the situation. He remembers that last time he saved his life with the help of charm using the example of a watchman. Now it can also work with a professor. The guy says that he does not deny his guilt, but is a good guy. Now the man strongly doubts it. John uses the power of his charm and looks at his teacher. The professor is touched and says that the guy actually didn't do anything inappropriate. He accepts the explanation, smiling, and asks not to miss his classes anymore. The main character will bow down and thank his teacher. The men don't understand what just happened. He worries and thinks that he has become soft in his old age. Joyfully heading home, John thinks that he needs to use his charm more often, because it really helps. Suddenly his phone starts ringing in his pocket again. He pays attention to it. The guy takes the gadget out of his pocket and picks up the phone. It turns out that it was spam. They clarify whether the guy wrote off about $120,000 from the bank account. More and more people are starting to call the main character, trying to deceive him or get him to do some favor. Apparently it's all about newly acquired visibility. The guy thinks that no one will like you, because he will definitely be noticed. He decides to turn off his phone until he gets back to the dorm, and then download a call blocker. But this time, it's not an advertising agency that writes to him, but a man for whom the guy recently drew sketches for a novel. He reports that 2 more acquaintances would like to work with John. He himself is madly waiting for the release of the continuation of these stories. The sleepy grandfather has long been one of his favorite web novelists, according to his own statement. As soon as he sits down to write, he immediately becomes sleepy. He rarely releases chapters, but the short stories turn out wonderful. That same evening, the main character comes to the workshop, begins his broadcast, and says that he will first draw 5 classic American characters, after which he will begin illustrating the stories. The hero draws various superheroes, Smurfs, avatars, and other popular characters. Having finished with this, it is worth starting to draw illustrations for the novel called Dungeon Spirits. With quick movements of his hands, he draws a coffin. Suddenly, he notices that about 6,000 people are now watching his broadcast. The number of views increased by 9,300, which is twice as much as before. The main character assumes that all this is thanks to links from his sleepy grandfather. Suddenly it dawns on him that this is not only the merit of the author of the short stories. He understands that these arrivals are due to visibility. At least in some way it helped. Remembers all the past time. It is unknown whether celebrity is a gift or a curse. For now, it's better not to bother the monster there. There may be too many side effects from this characteristic. No more dancing. Suddenly, the guy receives messages. This is the moderation of the streamer platform. At 8 in the evening, the channel will be included in the list of recommendations in the drawing category. Thanks to this, he will receive even more views, will soon complete the task, and will receive another +1 to his charm, after which he will become irresistible. The more pumped up his charm becomes, the greater the chance that people will fall in love with him. It turns out that there are much more advantages to being a celebrity than disadvantages for the sake of great love. You will somehow survive calls from scammers. The guy still decides that he will go dancing tomorrow. He's traveling by bus. The next stop is the estate. Please get ready to leave. If the main character is on stage again, he will probably finish the task as an impeccable liker. After all, today is Friday. There should be even more people. Due to the impossibility of skipping classes unnoticed, he can only come here in the evenings. Arriving at the square, John does not see your number of people and actors. Apparently, they are on a break. Suddenly, among the crowd, the guy notices the landowner, waves his hand and calls him to him. He heads towards the man. They say that he has a request. He begs to let his colleague throw the marriage ball at his side. The landowner tells him that nothing can be guaranteed here, because the outcome is random. There are times when, in order to be lucky, you first need to make an effort. The main character hands the man his phone and asks him to look at the video. He realizes that the guy in the video is from the last time he danced. The man is surprised by the number of views the video has collected, about 1 million ratings. He suggests that John is now a social media star. The main character replies that the truth is a very popular person on TikTok. He also adds that their cooperation could be very mutually beneficial. His popularity can really help attract more spectators to the performance. But the guy is too capricious. He cannot be allowed to ruin their performance. Despite all the doubts, the man accepts his offer. He sets the condition that now he can start dancing only after the main part of the performance. John replies that 3 minutes at the very end will be enough. The guys shake hands, agreeing on cooperation. Last time the hero distributed about 20,000 likes in a minute on stage. Now he will have 3 minutes. Besides, his visibility has increased. Today he will be able to complete this task. The performance comes to an end. People in the crowd notice Baton and are happy that today will be many times more interesting than always. The husband and wife exchange bows and then go to the bridal room. This day is very significant for John, so he decides to share his joy with people and dance. The audience already knows what will happen. They shout joyfully and clap their hands. The main character prepares to perform his dance by removing his bow. He and other workers among the actors begin to perform his thumbs-up dance with him. People laugh, compliment them, and look at what is happening with enthusiasm. The guy decides that now is the time to use his abilities to the fullest. He activates his hand speed and visibility skill, flashing his fingers up at great speed. The third stage is completed. He has completed everything he needs. Previously, the numbers were growing rapidly. The system notifies that after completing the tasks, an achievement called Crazy Lucky 2.0 will be awarded, and, on top of everything else, a +10 will be added to visibility. The guy doesn't understand why there is also an increased version for such a bad task. He doesn't need an additional +14 to visibility. He won't be able to survive this. He decides that he has already received the coveted 1,000 points. His visibility is already through the roof. He doesn't need more. He gets a lot of points. But with a further increase in this level, it is better not to risk it. The hero decides to open the items that became available with this task, and there he finds a cap. When worn, the level of visibility will be close to 0. He decides that with such a cap he can even do whatever he wants. John decides that he should calm down. This cap will simply reduce his new visibility, but will not make him invisible. Unfortunately, this cap costs a whole 1,000 points, just like the miracle camera. Now he doesn't have the funds for it. He performed this task only to buy a new gadget. But now the cap is much more needed. With something like this, a guy could negate all the side effects of visibility and take advantage of its benefits when needed. The camera will wait first of all. It's worth buying a new item of clothing, which will subsequently help you live comfortably. Unfortunately, an error appears on the screen. The purchase will become available only after completing the first stage of the new task. John continues to poke at the screen in disappointment. He needs this cap now for the sake of it. He will have to dance again. Looking at the time, he decides that he should think about this later. But for now, he needs to rush to the stream. The guy gets on the bus. Now everyone around him is staring at him. Even when he had a +2 in visibility. He felt uncomfortable, but now he's already a +6. Some guy is trying to steal a wallet from the main character's pocket. The man takes notice of this and shouts at the petty thief. The hero flies into a rage and shouts that he clearly ran into the wrong thing. He sits on the guy's back and says that he just wanted to take a ride while sitting on the bus. He doesn't understand why he didn't think sooner, choosing a victim out of his weight category. The guy apologizes and says that previously he only stole from grandmothers, even pickpockets. Cannot ignore the advantage of visibility. Without this cap, the main character